does this always happen with Rebecca? There's always a technical issue.
Okay. Mic problem.
Everybody else, no problem. I just already know. Flip it the other way.
You want it this way? I thought you told me the other way.
There, perfect. Don't move. No, I'm just kidding.
This is propped up by a box with an AC remote. It's all
That's
crazy.
Good. No one needs to know.
So I started off in the short-term rental business, and at that time, for me, it was an Airbnb business, not a rental business. And started off, I would say about a little over 2 years ago now. Was doing it as a side gig. And probably, I would say before I met Jay, we probably had around between 10 and 15 properties. After meeting Jay and after talking through the opportunity that was there, and this is now about, I would say almost a little over a year.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
This is over a year later. And now we have over 65 properties. And we have systems and people in place, and we're actually running it as a business, not a hobby. So pretty incredible.
Do you remember that conversation? We were at that hot dog place, which we need to get back to, by the way. And I told you very clearly that I don't think you understand what you have.
Our business back then, which was when we had the 10 to 15 properties, we were actually, I do know this. So we were making around, I would say, $100 to $120,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And now this past year, without it even finishing, we're over 2 million. So that's the impact.
So it's worked.
We're on Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Booking.com, and Pillow and Coffee, our Pillow and Coffee website. The neighborhoods that we're in downtown, we're in Koreatown, Echo Park, Silver Lake, Hollywood, East Hollywood, Beverly Hills. So yeah, we kind of span across the region. And I mean, for us, with the information that we've learned from Jay and the skill sets that we've developed, I mean, we've been trying to stop growing, and we've been trying to stop for a long time. And
right.
The owner just like they're very interested in working with us, and once we develop that relationship, it's just been rolling in because they see what kind of owner operators we are as well. So for our owners, I mean, whenever they have vacancy, they call us first. Whenever they're buying a building, they call us first. They say, hey, is this going to work out for you? Is this something interesting? And I've talked to them before, and I mean, the owners that we work with, they're business people, obviously, as well. And most of them are self-managers, so they understand the amount of work it takes into managing a property. And when we've come along and we've shown them and talked them through the process of when we're managing and operating your buildings, we're treating them as our own.
Right.
This is a business for us, and we plan for it to succeed. So when we do that, and we could show them how we furnish their apartments with brand new furniture and make it look more beautiful than when they've even had it before. When we tell them how often that we're doing inspections in the properties,
yep,
and the technologies that we're using to know what's going on in the property, I mean, at first they're confused and they're like, wait, how are you doing all of that? What are these things? For them, it's a no-brainer at that point. We're doing regular maintenance, preventative maintenance on their property. So all these things that they hear, they know they should be doing that, but they're not. Right. So they're like, oh, well, if you're going to do it, then even better.
Right.
I mean, so the experience we've been having, and I mean, we've been growing from referrals, purely referrals. We don't look for properties. We look for good owners. Right. And they've referred us to all of the other owners that we work with. And I mean, they do that because they're having a good experience and they want to share that with their friends that might own property as well. So we have a ton of different types of properties as well. I mean, we have everything from really, really small studios. They're probably like less than 300 square feet. And then we have like 3-bedroom houses in Beverly Hills as well. And we've really kind of honed in on who we're serving and what we're providing. A lot of this is understanding who you serve, which is what Jay teaches. It's the foundation it's the foundation of any business, to be honest, especially real estate. So when we understood that, and when Jay like drilled that into our head, it's like, no, nothing else matters right now, because it's just going to be, you're going to be backpedaling later on if you don't set your foundation. I mean, so that was really, really important for us. And that is how we choose the properties we do go into or don't.
Real estate has always been something that I knew that I wanted to get into. I have always wanted to be my own boss. I've always wanted to do my own thing. I've always wanted to take my own path and be responsible for my own destiny. In my current position, I 100% feel held back. Could I get cost of living increases occasionally or bonuses here and there? Absolutely. But I would be working harder every day to put money into someone else's pocket. And I had that realization one day where, none of us know if Social Security is going to be there when we're in our 60s, 70s. People are working until they're 70 years old just to make whatever Social Security has to give them at 70. I do not want to be that person. I feel like I have so much more to give and so much more to learn, and I just feel like at this point in my life, still being in a place where I can make those changes, and I have a husband and a family that supports those changes, I need to take those risks and those chances for our future.
All right, Charlie Bucket, you ready to drive around, see if we can find some for rent signs? Kill a little bit of time and work while we're waiting for brother to finish water polo? Let's roll.
You can't put a price on time, in my opinion. Money is great, absolutely, everyone wants it, but something that we would rather be rich in is time. You see any yet? Oh, there's a for sale.
I think we have a little bit on this block.
Jackpot! I think that if someone would have told me a year ago that I would be currently where I am now, I wouldn't have believed them, because I would have thought that doing something like this would take hundreds of thousands of dollars and would take, a real estate license, a broker's license. I had no clue that there were as many opportunities in real estate as I do now in the few short months that I've really studied it. Learning about short-term rentals gave me the confidence that I needed in order to know that I was going to be okay. Since starting the short-term rental mastermind just a few short months ago, we have built a portfolio of almost 4 units now. Our 4th unit will be live here in just the next couple weeks. And that's from knowing nothing to securing our first lease to now being in the process of, securing our 4th lease. We have no plans on stopping anytime soon. We have a goal in mind for the end of 2018 to have 20 units online, and hopefully we blow that goal out of the water. This is going to be an avenue where I can provide financial freedom for my family much quicker than I could doing a lot of things out there, including sitting behind a desk. Absolutely. And it's going to create passive income for my family, which is more important. Knowing that you can do it without having to own, knowing that you could do it without having to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, knowing that you could do it with a proven system and models that work and materials that you could study to make it happen, it was a no-brainer after that. And that's really what had us making that final push. Like, this is it. This is what we're doing. All in. Don't hold anything back. We're gonna hit this one out of the park. Going up?
Yeah.
Okay. This in no way, shape, or form is a shortcut to wealth. It is hard work. It's going to require you to study and to know exactly what you want to do before you do it. But if you want it bad enough, you're gonna find the time to do it. And that's exactly what I do.
Perfect. It's locked.
My current schedule is crazy. My schedule without trying to start my own business was crazy. So add in the fact that I have been trying to build my own business, and it just takes it to a whole nother level. Being part of a mastermind with Jay is like being part of a family. I never feel like there's a time where I can't reach out to him and ask him a question and he wouldn't answer it immediately. I mean, we are part of a Facebook group that we are constantly asking questions back and forth to one another, or calling him out specifically on a question that we feel like he's going to be the one to answer. And he's answering within minutes. He's just never more than a message away. And that's such a cool feeling, because there are questions that come up constantly with this. And what's really cool is that everything that he's teaching us, he's done. And I truly appreciate that from him as a teacher and a mentor, because there's a lot of people that would just recommend based on what they've heard, or, without proving it first. He is not that person. He has taken the time to fail so that we can succeed. There are so many ways that you can do this if you know how to do it. And I would say that that's what's holding most people back, is a lack of knowledge and understanding of how simple it could be if you take the time to learn it, and then if you implement what you're learning into your practices. That's what keeps me going right now through these long days. And that's what keeps me committed, is knowing that there is going to be such a bright light at the end of this tunnel. I mean, I'm already seeing it. Just months in, just working the system and seeing the results so quickly is what keeps me going, is what keeps me excited, because all I had to do was see that it can be done. We have goals in mind. We're going to hit those goals, and we're going to hit them hard. And hopefully we're even going to surpass those goals, because we've been given everything that we need to do so.
Hey guys. So hopefully you're back. Hopefully you're ready. So that last person you saw there, her name Haley, she's since gone on to, it was a trailer park, mobile home trailer park. So again, a lot of people use short-term rentals as a stepping stone onto further strategies, and makes sense to me. So at the end of the day, even if your goal is maybe owning apartment buildings or maybe resorts or something else, still makes all the sense in the world to start right here. So I'm going to go through the chat, see some of the things that you guys said that you learned, because I'm also curious to see what's going on. Yes, I see lots of objective facts in there. So what? The one who creates multiple streams of income from that money. Absolutely. Love it. Let me see the last one. I don't remember. Oh, that was right. Probably which one was rich. So that totally makes sense. Susan, yes, an asset a day keeps poverty away. One of my favorite sayings now. And then April says offering additional services such as internet, baby items, rent-a-car, etc. April, while not today, I am often known for doing things with new technology, chat, GPT, etc. There are some crazy things that we can do with that to generate additional revenue as well. Jay Johnson's like sudden wealth syndrome. Yes, look that up. Protect yourself from it, right? Because if you have not been in a position before to receive, honestly, more than what you thought possible, you just don't really know. But it just really speaks to that you and I cannot behave consistently that is inconsistent with who we believe ourselves to be. So now, for those of you, I saw a number of you go ahead and schedule your appointments. So that's awesome. Great. I'm looking forward to talking to those of you who did so. Again, if you feel like, okay, short-term rentals is for me, I want to make sure I can figure this out. How can I be more like some of the people I've seen in the video? Go to CashFlowDiary.com/start and choose your time so that we can help you get started, because that's the goal. To be very, very clear, it's not, I can't train you in 22 minutes to do all of the things. But over time, I can help you get to, like you heard what Haley said, hundreds of thousands. As you saw, Rebecca, again, they're one of the ones that we help cross 7 figures. There are many who we've helped to do all kinds of things like that using this particular strategy. So with that being said, let us jump back into, wait, right there. Boom. Wait, nope, that wasn't it. Sharing the screen. There we go. So let's jump right back into the board, but I want to get us to, in this case, the steps, right? So step number 1 is actually, oh, you know what? Let me go back here because it's inside the workbook. I just remembered and I forgot to scroll to boom, right there, boom. All right, so step number 1 is all about deciding who it is that you are looking to serve. Once you know who that is by answering these questions, that will help you then keep making the next steps forward. Step number 2, okay? Step number 2 is to understand these 5. So when it comes down to is you want to be able to build your business with the same methods, okay? So I like why, what, when, who, how, and in that order. Why, what, when, who, how. So why are you building this? What are you building? When are you building it? So when you combine what and a when, that's called a goal. Okay, what and a when. What do you want to do? And by when would you like to do it? That is called a goal. But creating clarity and specificity around that is the key. So the goal when building your short-term rental business is to determine the location, as in where is going to be the best place. Now, here's the secret. The best place is not the same as the best place for, say, a long-term rental. 2 completely different financial objectives. School districts matter when we start talking about long-term rentals. They are not important when it comes to short-term rentals inside your business. School districts are not as important. They do not carry the same weight at all. Okay. Here's what does matter. What is your customer coming to the area to do? So you want to be, you ready? Technically within 2 to 10 miles. Within 2 to 10 miles. Someone write 2 to 10 miles. You want to be within 2 to 10 miles of whatever it is they came to do. You want to be within 2 to 10 miles of that. So if they're coming to just visit museums and tourist stuff, be within 2 to 10 miles. If they're coming to work, or for example, sometimes people are working on contract with a company for an extended period of time, totally fine. Be within 2 to 10 miles of the company that they are going to work at. So these are like your Facebooks, your Googles, your Raytheons of the world. Maybe they're going to a hospital. They're a medical professional. Again, 2 to 10 miles. Maybe it's a, oh man, just went out the door. Here's something that people don't think about often, but your estheticians, there are many like your Paul Mitchell schools, etc. They not only have to travel to the school, but they often come with a model. So meaning a person, especially if we're talking about hair and some other things, they need a person to practice their stuff on, and they travel for things like that. Your higher end government contractors, for example, are also an area where you have opportunity as well. This is funny. I forgot to do something. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Hey, sir. How you doing? Happy birthday again, by the way. I am doing a presentation literally right now. Okay. I know. Let me call you back or after I'm done with this so we can do the whole, what's it called? Roblox thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye. Sorry. Totally forgot about my son was going to. Anyway, today's his birthday. And I'm going to play Roblox for the first time with him. It's something he's been wanting to do for a while. So this should be interesting. Help me. So where it goes, talking about location. So location is the key here. So when I say location, here's what I want you to think. I know that's supposedly the first rule of real estate, and I get it, but it's not the same. It is not about the location. It's about the experience at the location. So I'll say that again. It is not about the location in and of itself. It's about the experience you can create at the location. So I showed you earlier the covered wagon that's on vacant land. Well, think about this. There was at one time orange trees here in Orange County, and that is now known as Disneyland. There was swamp land in Florida that is now known as Disney World. So this, what I am literally saying is the location, while important, it's not paramount. Hear what I'm saying? Somewhere, maybe even in Louisiana or Florida, I don't really know, somewhere, there's somebody who wants the Billy Bob alligator and airboat experience. Now, I have no desire to do anything with alligators or airboats, but if Billy Bob and his alligators with the airboats and he's got a cabin, man, not only do they have a business almost instantly, they also have the ability to have a tour, if you will, an experience. Now, that's not something I'm looking for. I am just trying to share with you creative ways to do things. There was one lady out in Houston, Texas, who I was assisting. She's from, I want to say Ghana, or maybe it was Nigeria. I can't remember which off the top of my head. Long story short, she wanted to recreate her home village in Texas. That's what they did. Took a couple, little plot of land, and well, let's just say they're doing quite well. So I would have never said to myself, how can I bring Africa to Texas, like of all states? But anyway, they did, and works. Because once you understand who it is that you are looking to serve and therefore the experience you are looking to create, the goal becomes to create that experience nearly anywhere. So let me dive one more step deeper. It's not just about being in an urban area. You could be in a rural area, middle of nowhere. Why? Because people like authors and professional athletes, especially like those of you in Palm Springs, professional athletes love to go out that direction. Anyway, and authors like silence, seclusion, the ability to think with their thoughts as they're creating that next novel. There are many use cases for nearly every piece of property. You've got a piece of property with a ton of land and nothing else. Well, I call that a perfect place for a Spartan race because you have the ability. For those of you who are into things like cannabis and you've already, maybe you've got a farm going or something of that nature, well, put a few units there and now think of it like a farm to table experience. I know that sounded weird, but just go with me. People will pay for that extra experience to be able to go. I mean, anyway, you understand what I'm saying. All of these little things are extra ways to take what is already existing, what you're already paying property taxes on, and generate more revenue. That's the key. Remember the formula, L times C times F times M, that is always at play. That is something that should be always running in the back of your head. Location is important, but it's not paramount. I'm in Southern California, and the number one thing I do not want are vacationers. I can't stand them. I hate it. They are bothersome to me because when you're on vacation, every little thing matters, right? They're some of the most needy, and I mean that in every bad sense of the word, needy customers on the planet. And I'm even referring to myself, okay? I just don't want to do that as a business. So you don't need to be in Southern California. You could be in the middle of a cornfield if you really wanted to and make this thing work, because it's about the experience at the location, not the location in and of itself, which is, again, traditionally when you're thinking about real estate, that's the thing. Okay. So just understand the location is important, but just not paramount. All right. Step one, that was back in the workbook, making sure that you define who it is that you want to serve. Step two is all around choosing the location that is best suited for the person who you want to serve. Right. And again, you want to be within 2 to 10 miles. Here's another quick one. If you're near a military base, right, near a military, especially if they do training there, all right, you have a steady influx of people and rotation all the time. In fact, a really good cheat code is to go straight to the housing department on a military base, ask them what they got going on, because they probably don't have enough housing as it currently stands. This is also true of every Ronald McDonald house. And by every, I mean all Ronald McDonald houses. What does that mean? That means there's lots of sick children, lots of families that would love to support them, but can't, don't have a place to stay nearby the hospital. And when in working with in conjunction with the Ronald McDonald houses, guess what? Now you have a customer. This is, by the way, one of many reasons why we're not good at just helping you get one or two, because when you contact or work with an organization like that, they're like, yeah, we have a need for 15. How can you put up 15 families? And suddenly what helps create a little bit of relief for them creates this kind of financial impact for you. And it becomes something completely different. And your life changes by running these types of systems. So hopefully that, again, makes some sense. All right. So step three is all about, in this case, talking to the landlord. So we want to get to the place of where you guys are able to talk to the landlord. Okay. So what does that mean? That means you need to understand with so many reasons why this business makes sense for them as well as for you. So now this is not, okay, so keywords here. I am not talking about, and I want to just make sure I stress this. Many people ask me, I need a real estate license? No. Do you need to own the property? No. What about good credit? No, I didn't say any of those things. Here's what you need. You need a landlord with vacancy, a vacant landlord. So what does that mean? Step one, determine who it is that you want to serve. Step two, once you've determined who it is that you want to serve, one of the things I tell people to do, and you saw Haley inside the video, she was doing this. She was driving around, getting out the car, taking a photo. Now, some of you are going to try to cheat code this and you're like, well, I don't need to drive. I can do it faster by just being online. And you're going to miss some of the best opportunities because you did it your way, not the way that I am suggesting. Again, write this in the chat. Imitate before you innovate. Imitate before you innovate. So here's how I want you to think about it. Try it my way first. Make $1 million. And then after you've done that, change whatever you like. Does that make sense? That's really what I'm asking you to do. All right. So imitate before you innovate. What does that mean in this case? Once you've decided who it is you want to serve, what I like to do is to get a map of the same geographic area and circle areas of interest, the points of interest that your person would be in. So if I'm serving medical travelers, cool, where are all the hospitals, specifically level 1 trauma centers? You can find them. It's very public information. It's not that hard. You want to, where are the military bases? Where might the, what are those, colleges or universities or trade schools also be? Where are my government contractors all located? These are things in areas of interest per customer type that you want to go find out. In fact, an easy one to spot these days is construction, because there's a lot of it going on. Specifically, hospital construction right now is still going on across the United States in record number, which is kind of cool. But a lot of those workers and construction companies are not from the area, AKA need a place to stay. So that's the thing that you do. That's what we do. We provide temporary housing, clean, safe, affordable, in a space and convenient package for those who need it. What is that? Oh, what am I thinking? Oil, the people who work on those oil rigs. Again, same situation. So for those of you in Texas, I just pretty much gave you the entire play right there, because there you go. That you're fine. My point is, any one of these customer verticals is a 7-figure situation. Any one of them. I'm giving you many, and there are 65. All right. With that being said, you've got, who do you want to serve? You got the location. You got to find the landlords within those circles, those areas of interest, within those areas of interest. So what do? You get in your car, and even if you've lived in the same area for 15, 20, 80 years, I don't really care. Get in the car, go there, drive, get out the car, walk around the neighborhood. It will look different to you. You will see things that you have never seen, even though you have lived there forever. And that's by design. It's because you're in the car, you're just looking at different stuff. And you know what you do? You're making a collection of the for rent signs. Okay. Whether that's an apartment building or a single family house, doesn't really matter, but you're looking for a collection of those for rent signs. Now, do you want an apartment building, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, single family house? It's all tied to who do you want to serve. So for example, you say, Jay, I want to serve musicians. All right. One, I would not recommend this. However, because musicians don't believe any rules belong to them and that they don't have to follow them. But I would definitely use a house. Okay. I would definitely use a house. You say, Jay, I would like to serve, let me think. Say teams like traveling cheer teams, traveling dance, or I don't know, karate. It doesn't really matter. But when I'm thinking about traveling teams, I'm thinking multiple bedrooms, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So yes, you could use a 2-bedroom apartment, but ultimately they typically need more. Oh, soccer, definitely an apartment building. Here's why, because all the parents are typically coming too. So everybody can stay kind of with their kid, if you will. And you now have a situation in which a 5, 6, 7, 8 different units can get filled, or your fourplex is filled with this team over a specific period of time. There are so many things like this. Also, if you happen to be near a convention center, that is by far a great place to go. So please hear what I'm saying. The convention center already has people coming in. They are already scheduled to come. You know when they're coming. You know what organizations they're with. When you want to take it to advanced levels, you're going to start tracking down the magazines they read, the books magazines they read, podcasts they listen to, etc., so that you can begin to form relationships even deeper into that community, becoming known for your brand. So again, all of these things are the reasons why I'm not good at 1 and 2 and can help you get to a lot of them in a very short period of time. All right. So what am I saying? So we have now identified the location. You've got your for rent signs with the numbers on a list. We call that your opportunity list. Now, we don't have time to do this today, meaning walk the property. We do have inside of our training materials, we're going to show you how to walk a property. Now, for those of you who've got property or property management experience, you already know basic rules like keep the walls on your right, that type of thing. Make sure you see all the stuff, look down, look up. Have a standard system for walking through a property. We actually show you got arrows and everything on the floor plans and floors because you're choosing certain floor plans are more beneficial than others, but that's again beyond the scope of today. But that's ultimately what you're doing is the goal. Once you have that list is to call it to get to see the property. Okay, that's it, because that's really all you want to do. Now, what's the script? You heard, I believe, I forgot who said it, but one of the videos that we showed you was talking about all I did was use the script. And I'm going to give you exactly that word for word. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if you were here for the beginning part, you have instilled the beginnings of the correct belief. 2, I'm telling you what to do step by step. 3, once we're done, should you be brave enough, and before your phone call, you could be able to actually execute exactly what I'm saying, right? So even if you have started this training with nothing, by the time we talk on your call tomorrow or what have you, you could be in a position to literally, please hear me clearly, to literally be receiving advice from me on how to go ahead and close that particular lease. That's what I hope for. I get excited for, because I want people to make progress faster than you think you can. Because by removing a lot of the complication around closing a real estate transaction and translating it into a lease, you can execute faster, because you want to focus on your rates of return, specifically your cash on cash return at the beginning. And that's what we do. Step 1, got to build that. Okay. Now, here's the script. Okay, word for word, hasn't changed. Took me a while to get there to figure it out. But once I got there, stayed there. So what does that mean? Even myself today, these are the words that I say, all right? So I'm going to say it a couple of times. The good news is for those of you who got the recording, you're going to be able to watch it, right? Over and over again. And here's the point. Practicing it is what makes the difference. Remember how I was talking about assets require the correct mindset, skill set, as well as tool set. This is in the skill set category, meaning words matter. a lot. Okay. So every word is intentional and chosen specifically because words mean things, right? You heard Rebecca say that we had an Airbnb business, not a short-term rental business. You're like, what does that matter? Does that word really matter? Absolutely, right? I'm sure you've heard of the phrase guilty by association. Therefore, by saying the word Airbnb, you are guilty by association. So if ABC, CBS, CNN, also known as constant negative news, got there first, they told the landlord that you're a bad bet. So you don't have an Airbnb business. You do provide temporary housing and you short-term rental. Please leave it that simple. Leave it that clear. Otherwise, it's going to get confusing. And you're going to be telling people, you're going to be creating images in their minds that is completely different than what you intend. Here's the script. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about this? Say it again. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about this? I'm going to say this one more time. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about this? Don't change a word. I know it sounds like it doesn't matter, but I'm telling you it does. For example, hi, my name is Jay. I'm volunteering that at the beginning of the phone call. Why? Because I didn't withhold it from you. Not because I needed to give it, but I just didn't withhold it. By not withholding it, I established a completely different rapport with the person than just going straight into what am I calling for and about. Hi, my name is Jay. Now, the next piece, for those of you who are like, but my credit, my company and I. The key words here are my company and I. I'm establishing right up front that my company is going to be the tenant, are looking to lease very clearly a number of properties, that's with an S, in the area, meaning I'd like your building, but I'm not tied to it. Are you the right person to talk to about this? Now, I love this because when you go, are you the right person to talk to about this? One, the person on the phone might not be, but you didn't assume they weren't. You don't know how long they've been there, and you may have been the first person to even plant the seed in their head that they could actually be the owner, and you treated them as though it was possible, even if it wasn't probable, which automatically means they don't dislike you. It doesn't mean they like you, but they also don't dislike you, at least not yet. So, are you the right person to talk to about this? If they're not the right person, they're going to tell you and get you to the right person. If they are the right person, they're going to tell you, which is great. When they get you to a different person who is not, no, let me go get Jane. No problem. When Jane gets on the phone, you know what you say? The exact same thing. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about this? Do not assume. Are you the right person? Until somebody says yes, that's the key. Great. The only thing you are trying to do on this phone call is get an appointment to go see the property. You are not trying to pitch over the phone. You will not save yourself time trying to explain your entire business model over the phone. So don't do it. Just get the appointment, go see the property. Just get the appointment, go see the property. Now, you are likely at some point, either on the phone or while you are walking the property, you're going to be asked some version of, is this Airbnb, or what does your company do? Those are two separate questions, okay? Two separate questions. And I need you to hear me. It is not the question that they are asking you that you are actually answering. Here's what I mean by that. What does your company do? Is not to be, do not respond. We have an Airbnb business. That's the wrong answer. That is not what your company does. What your company does is provide temporary housing to individuals that need it. And then you describe your ideal customer, which if you did step one, you already know who that is. So hypothetically speaking, if I was near a place where I circled the point of interest of a hospital, I would say something like the following to the landlord. When they ask, what does your company do? Well, are you familiar with St. Mary's down the street, the hospital? It's like, yeah. Well, what we like to do is we like to work with organizations like theirs to provide clean, safe, affordable housing on a temporary basis for those coming to support people who are in the hospital, which means we like working with quality landlords like yourself to be able to do it. So what ends up happening is that they get to support the people that they love, and you get all of the occupancy that you are after. Now, see, do you see how I'm telling them what my company does? Not, we have an Airbnb business. So leaving it up to chance, don't do that. Okay. Now, the other one is this Airbnb. Love it. And we are never, as in not ever, also known as always disclose, but I'm going to tell you how to do so. We don't need to hide anything. We're not trying to get around anything. We're not trying to be shady. We're going straight at it. Here's how. We answer the question by understanding that a property manager or landlord's primary concerns are things like screening, safety, and security. These are the three things that people mess up all the time. Screening, safety, and security. This is what they mess up. But this is what the landlord is actually asking. Even though they say, is this Airbnb or something like it? It's screening, safety, and security. So you need to think they want to know about my screening, safety, and security procedures. That's what they're asking. Okay. So you have to respond with, well, like any good business looking to stay in business, we use various methods of acquiring our customers. So obviously we have a website, as well as using marketplaces like VRBO, Airbnb, Flipkey, Wimdu, etc., whichever ones you've decided, but Airbnb is there. Make sure you say it, because there's no reason to hide from it, because there's conflation inside the marketplace. People confuse how you acquire your customer with what it is that you do. Airbnb is just a marketplace. It's how you acquire the customer. Great. So just remember that. So inside this conversation, you're saying, hey, yeah, we're just like any other business trying to get good business. Now, regardless of how we acquire the lead, all of our guests go through the same process, because I don't know if you're aware, but we're about to make a very significant investment inside each one of the units that we lease from you. And in the same way that you have to provide quiet enjoyment for all of the tenants, I have to protect the investment we're about to make. But let me ask you this, and here's the key. When you get a tenant from Craigslist or call from Craigslist, and that person comes into your office, do you just automatically hand them a lease? Now, at that point, the person's going to say, oh God, no, we would never do that. Okay, well, what do? Well, we screened them, of course. Your response? Me too. Because see, they're thinking you stayed up late one night, paid $19.95 and got some book and cool. I'm going to go experiment on your property. That's what they're thinking. They don't know this business. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for long enough to know that landlords still have no clue. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it until it's true, because it will be. Every landlord, by every, I mean all, will have to contend with this business model, whether you like it or not. Resist it for as long as you want. As the Borg would say, resistance is futile. This is coming for you, buddy. It's coming. Might as well get ahead of it. So what does that mean? In this process, what you've done is you've effectively put you both on the same side of the table, saying things like, yes, we acquire customers. We're trying to stay in business just like you. And we screen so that we can protect our investment. which also has the byproduct of protecting your building and quiet enjoyment. These are all the right things to say. Again, it's screening, safety, and security. That is what they're really asking you. Again, I've had the privilege of doing this and answering these questions with some of the United States' toughest real estate attorneys who work for some of the largest real estate investment trusts. And nothing is more nerve-wracking when you've got really high-priced lawyers and I'm saying the same scripts to them. And then in the silence, they go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But that was a long silence, you know what I'm saying? So getting that stuff through some of literally the nation's most toughest lawyers, helping them understand how the business model works is important. It's paramount to your success, right? So I'm giving you the tools so that you can then use them. But remember what I said, if you use the tools inappropriately or not properly, you're just not going to get the same result. And what it comes down to is you have to practice. Okay, you really do. This is one of the reasons we like our community, because it gives opportunities for practice. We have continuing training. We got a lot of things. And again, for those of you who want to find out more and continue your educational journey with us, all you got to do is go to cashflowdiary.com/start. Choose a time. It's 22 minutes. Okay. And it's a very structured call, very much like anything else I do, intentional. And it'll be with me right now anyway. It'll be with me. So make sure that you do that. But understand, there's only two questions that you really, really got to be afraid of. It's some version of, is this Airbnb and what does your company do? And I've told you how to answer it. Just start with the script, get your appointment, and go walk the property. Now, after you walk the property, don't forget, if you want the place, ask them. You'd be surprised sometimes when you're dealing with a mom and pop landlord, they forget to ask, hey, do you want to rent it? I know it sounds crazy, but ask. Okay. Now, I want to tell you your highest probability of success in my opinion, and what I've seen. In a perfect world, you'll find a vacant apartment building that was just rehabbed. Love those, because that owner is trying to do an entire lease up, whether it's an 8-unit, 7-unit, 12-unit, 15, 20-unit, I don't really care. But if they are 100% vacant, just finished rehab, the one thing that you are bringing to the table is a condensed, AKA shortened lease up process, because the amount of time and expense that it takes to lease up an entire building is very, very valuable, to the tunes of tens of thousands of dollars to that particular landlord. So things like your security deposits and other things can all become negotiable because you have speed in that matters. All right. Once you've negotiated the lease, you're on to the next step, which is the move-in process. This is the place where most new people totally lose it, because they go, well, I know how to design. I can take some photos with my phone, and the furniture store down the street can totally help me, and I can get the stuff from there. I'm going to be very direct right now. Part of the success of our students depends on people who say that to themselves and make that decision. Here's what I mean. This is going to sound very, very cold and cutthroat for some of you. You others of you, you're going to see, ooh, there's the capitalist side of him. Here it is. I count on that, and our students count on that, because we know how inefficient it is. It should take you no more from lease signing to first guest, 72 hours. 72 hours, also known as 3 days. Okay, 72 hours. So if it's a completely broom swept, clean, move-in ready unit, 72 hours later, somebody should be there. If you are not able to perform that quickly, you're doing something wrong, either in the design, either in your system's operational setup, or inside of your messaging, marketing, etc. Something is off. Your procurement could be off. I don't know, but there's something that is off if it's taking you more than 72 hours. What does that mean? That means one of the things that we tend to provide those who are learning and studying and training with is very similar to what you saw in the video, are the contacts necessary. not only to just get the furniture, clean the place, but also all the tools and software stack. Inside of our software stack, I believe there's approximately 13 different pieces of software to deliver the service in a remote sense. Our customer experience team is actually overseas so that we can deliver service in multiple languages within 7 minutes, 24/7. So what does that mean? We're going to respond quickly. No one likes to stand in line. Everybody hates waiting. And if we can respond faster than the next person, we win. These are the things that those who say things like, well, I'll just go down the street and get my, couch from there and go to Craigslist and go from, what are those called? Garage sales, from garage sale to garage sale. I count on people making that type of decision because their product, their service is not duplicatable, that's not scalable. Ours will be. So you end up making us look better. And I appreciate that because then customers begin to understand the difference between an Airbnb business and a short-term rental operator, right? But those are the first 4 steps. You got to first decide who it is that you want to serve. Second, determine that location. Third, once that location has been determined, you got to talk to the landlord, close that lease. And then fourth, you've got to move in, which details things like procuring all of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, making sure it gets installed properly, operating properly, etc., and maintaining proper screening, safety, and security throughout the entire process, and doing so within 72 hours or less. I forgot how many, I literally forgot how many hundreds, if not thousands of units we have set up over time at this point, because I just forgot. But our team is here to do that very thing, to make the process as simple and as easy and as efficient as possible. And again, imitate before you innovate. That means follow the way that we have prescribed, that we know works. Then after you made some money, hey, guess what? Do it however you'd like. Do it however you'd like. Now, part of the challenge with this business is that we humans often confuse currency with competency. Let me say that differently. Just because you made some money doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Just because you made some money doesn't mean you know what you're doing. So let me say that one more time, even clearer. When you go on Facebook later and you see someone who said they made 6 figures XYZ last year, I want you to label that thought as beginner. To get to 6 figures in this business model is no more than 3 units, if that. And if they're using a house, it's probably a house. That is not a lot of experience, in my opinion. What begins to be a lot of experience is when someone can say that they run 50, 100, 150, 200, 300 reservations per month. That means they're doing 5, 6, 7, 10 cleanings per day, possibly in multiple cities, all simultaneously running the same system, serving different customer types in different marketplaces. That's experience. In fact, this is going to sound really morbid and bad, but here's a way you can tell how long someone's been in the business. Just ask them, what are your SOPs for bed bugs and or when, not if, when somebody dies at one of the units? Do you have any? Because I know that sounded crazy, but if they've never, as in not ever, had any instances of bed bugs and never, and I mean not ever, had anyone die, they're probably still at the beginning. Okay? They're probably still at the beginning. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. I'm just saying it's an indication of how many reservations that they've done. Because, hey, life happens. I promise. We've dealt with drugs. We've dealt with, we'll call them ladies of the night as well. We've dealt with all kinds of things when it comes to short-term rentals. Keeping the bad stuff out, the good stuff in is part of the fun, but that's your job. learning how to do that, how to screen, keep people safe as well as secure. Right now, we're getting towards the end of this for today. What does that mean? That now is the time for those of you, if you have not yet scheduled an appointment, you want to grab an opportunity to do so by simply going to CashFlowDiary.com/start. Because when you get there, you'll just pick a time and we'll talk for 22 minutes. 22 minutes. That's it. That is the length of the appointments that I can currently offer. Inside that time, what we're going to do is I'm going to diagnose really quickly where you are through this process and evaluate it towards the system. And some of you, you know what? You may decide that the only thing you want to do is what we call our own do-it-yourself program, which is fine. And we'll talk about that. Others of you, you're going to want to join the community and go further. Others of you may even want to work with me individually because we still have a few spots left there. Regardless of what it is that you do, here's what I can tell you, that there's a way in for you to get started, regardless of your current condition. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, all of those things. That is so what? And I need you to start thinking that way. What I care about is where you're going. What is it that you want to do? Whose life is it that you want to change other than your own? What impact are you looking to have? I can say at this point in my journey that one of the things that I get excited for every day is knowing that today, every day, someday, I am going to change somebody's life. I just don't know who. I haven't met you yet. And maybe today I did, just now, right? And I appreciate the fact that you, even the person I don't know, you are still looking, searching, wanting to become bigger, better, and badder for yourself, for your family, for whatever reasons that you have. Those reasons are important. Those reasons got you this far. But remember what we said at the beginning? You want to have more. Having more means by default, you got to put yourself in front of more opportunity. But you also have to do things, usually doing more, but doing more with ingenuity. And in order to do that, you typically need to be something more than what you currently are. That doesn't mean you are not enough. It means you can become enough. But you only do that with intention, right? And a lot of the difference between who you are now and the new person that you will introduce yourself to be is the books you have read or read and the people that you will meet. So let me answer the question that might be in the back of your head. Can you do it? The answer is no. You cannot do it. The version of you that is here right now can't do it. But the version of you that does is what we want to introduce you to, because you can become the person who does. Remember what we said about objective facts? It's one of two things. You're either thinking and focused on the outcome being not favorable or favorable for you. And therefore, it affects what you, not me, where your faith lies. Do you believe or do you doubt? And if you believe, you've probably already scheduled your appointment at CashFlowDiary.com/start. If you are doubting, you're waiting for me to somehow prove it to you, and that's never going to happen. Your doubt is yours. You get the privilege of keeping it or not. But for those of you that do and have already scheduled your appointment, so that's great. The rest of you got a little bit of time. Feel free to go to CashFlowDiary.com/start. Go ahead and get that started. Some of you want more information, totally fine. Type Cashflow Diary in Google, and a whole bunch more will come up. We've been producing content for more than a decade, whether that's on YouTube, inside of our podcast, join our newsletters. We've got all kinds of things available for you for free, because here's what I know. No other company will be able to outgive us. None. Give it out in slices, comes back in loaves. I'm not worried about it, because at the end of the day, you have to have the correct mindset, skill set, and tool set. We've already set the industry standard for tool sets, not even concerned. Next step, though, is for you to begin to build the mindset and skill set necessary to use the tool set so that you can receive the result that you are looking for. Again, we will be doing more of the classes. For those of you who have missed us, I thank you for just acknowledging that we have made a difference for you, and that most importantly, that you're glad we're back. I'm glad we're back too. We are working on completing the schedule. So for those of you already inside the community on school, you'll see the calendar continue to get filled with more opportunities and dates, not only for training, but we have some ideas around some online networking events and things that we're going to run as well. With that being said, here's what I do want to end with. I want you to know something very important, that whatever you have been through, maybe in the last 12 months, last year, last 3 years, doesn't really matter. Whatever you have been through has a purpose. I can't claim to know what that is, but I can claim this. You have survived it. And that deserves a celebration. That deserves a celebration. You should celebrate the fact that you survived thus far. That also tells me that you have what it takes to keep pushing forward. You took it one day at a time before, you can take it one day at a time the next time, and that is what will get you through. You are not going to make a change overnight, but you can make changes over many nights. For those of you who decide to allow us to help you with those changes, welcome aboard. And for those of you who you're going to hang out a few more times with us, totally fine. Make sure that you open tomorrow's newsletter. Those always come out at around 4:30 or so Pacific time. So keep staying in the conversation so that you can get to whatever destination it is that you believe is in your future. It's been fun talking to you guys today. I am glad to be back, as they say. And we're just looking forward to continuing working with all of you in whatever capacity you so decide to allow us to do so. With that being said, I'm gonna leave you with a video, and when the video ends, so will the remainder of the presentation. Again, you can just go to cashflowdiary.com/start, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey guys, what I'm going to do is I want to go over the basic steps required to run a short-term rental. Now, how these steps are executed changes relative to your scale. So what you're doing at the beginning is different than what you would be doing once you say you have 5 bedrooms or 10 bedrooms or 50 or 100 even. Now, the intent is to know where you're going, start with the end in mind. So if you already know that's where you're headed, you should start with the methods that are required for scale from the beginning. And as I've said before, a lot of what I'm going to go over is good for those who want scale. You only want 1 or 2, not so much. But these are the 10 things that I want to make sure that everybody understands, and that we're all on the same page as it relates to putting your business together. All right. So number one is simply knowing that you have to make sure, who do you want to serve? That should be no surprise at this point. We have the, I believe it's 6-page document. So you should have that by now. If you already completed your 90-day action plan, you have some more clarity around that as well. That'll also go in here. Then you're going to go determine location. Then after you have the location, literally like where, not just like what city, but where in that city, down to the subdivision, you should be able to determine that as well. Then once you've determined the location, you've got your landlord, right? Because we're going to start with and focus on renting spaces first before we move to purchasing real estate long term. And then next, now that you got the landlord, the next step is to actually lease the property, right? If you never lease the property, then obviously you can't make any money. You make $0 on a property that you do not own or control. $0 on a property that you do not own or control. Then we're going to move over here and adequately begin the move-in process. Now, this is the part that a lot of people get stuck on, or sometimes take way too long. They lose a lot of money here, because this can be 72 hours from lease signing to operations. Now, and that's making the assumption that the day you sign the lease is also the day you take possession. Okay, sometimes you can sign the lease for a future possession date, which is always recommended if you can, especially when it comes to your design team. But we're going to talk more about all of these steps. And then next is market. This is the one that a lot of people want to start with. When I say market, making it known that the property is available at the price, what the amenities, features, all of those types of things are. This is where we begin to use the software, tech stack, tools, etc. So the market, the property, and then the part that everybody also wants to focus on is the money. How do I make the money, Jay? How much do I charge? And how do I begin to have reservations? Because that's really what we're talking about. But in this section, we're also going to talk about a formula that helps you maximize the money that's possible, not only from a unit, but from your entire portfolio. That formula also is how you will diagnose issues as, okay? Right here, we've got, as you can see, who do you want to serve? You've got your location. So you've got, and then landlord, lease, move in, market, money. And now what we're going to do is go to the next steps, which is reset. Okay. This is another place where things can get a little wonky for some people sometimes, because what it simply means is after someone stays there, what's the process to make the location, the property look like no one has stayed there for the next guest? And there's a number of things that happen, yes, at the property, but also behind the scenes and internally that you need to be doing and track. Then what it comes down to is review. This is where a lot of people are dropping the ball for their business. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes, what it comes down to is that you are getting new customers from the OTAs. So your Airbnbs, your booking.coms, etc. But you should always be building your own database, because at some point you want people to come back to you direct, because that, again, the beginning of where the real relationship is, where the real money is inside this business, is inside of the direct relationship as you are able to secure them. So that's literally what we want to make sure that you actually get done. Then the fun part is repeat. So inside the step of repeating, obviously it means do it all again. But for those of you, if you ever had any sort of military experience, part of the repeat is what they call an AAR, after action report. So you don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again, especially if what was not going well was broken, right? But you want to begin to analyze the business. What went well, what didn't go well, what should we get rid of, what should we keep? It becomes a part of the process. What ends up happening, all said together, you end up with these 10, whoops, made it a little too small. You end up with these 10 steps, okay? This is pretty much how the business is ran, whether it is 1 unit or 100. You're doing all of these things and you're doing them repeatedly, okay? Over and over again. This yellow stuff is really what's tied to your expansion, if you will. So you're adding more and more location, right? This over here in the orange is pretty much tied to the public side of your operation. So customer facing, what your customer is going to see a lot of. And then what's in green is really what internal. So this is all of your support teams, etc., your relationships with the OTAs, your vendors, construction. Anyway, there's a ton of teams, ton of things. And what we're going to do is we're going to break all this down, but I wanted to give you an idea holistically, if you will, of how the entire business works or works together or looks like or should look like as you continue to build, as we continue to construct and make the business be what it's supposed to be. So you're always going to be doing these 10 steps, or I should say more accurately, as your business grows, somebody is always going to be doing these 10 steps. And all of those steps can be scaled and designed to work in multiple jurisdictions. So you don't, at the beginning, yes, you're going to be near where you live. Over time, you can scale to more and more locations, further and further away as you're used to running the system. So I'm hoping this quick overview helped you in some way, shape, or form.